Welcome to the Abby Wynn Show on the Mark Attwood Show, starring Abby Wynn with special guest Mark Attwood. Over to you, Abby.
Oh, geez, I need a vodka.
Well,
Hello, Mark Attwood. It's a pleasure to have you on the Abby Wynn Show today. I've been trying to get you on the show for ages and you just kept finding reasons not to, but I've got you here now and I'm going to pin you down to talk about your amazing book, God Wins. Oh, it's on this side. There it is, God Wins. Um, because I feel like it was an honor and a privilege, and those words kind of don't mean anything anymore, but they mean a lot to me. It was an honor and a privilege for me to work with you on this, to get it from a rectangle down to a square. And that sounds like a very simple thing to do, but it actually wasn't. And if I was to figure out how many hours it took, so I'm not going to even try. So I'm delighted to tell everybody watching this that you can now buy a square, full color version of God Wins on Amazon, wherever it is near you. And it's just superb, superb. So I will open by asking you, Mark, how do you feel at this point in your journey with everything that's gone on to see this here in a more accessible square version?
well, it's amazing, and I really appreciate your help putting it together because the original one, which I have here, was very big and heavy, and it was amazing. It cost me tens of thousands to publish it without any idea how many people would get it, and then I just felt bad for people that it was costing 50 quid to post it to Australia. And I was like, I said to you a couple of years ago, I'm going to have to put it on Amazon because people kept asking for it, and I've sold out of these. And this is a kilo in weight. And do you remember there was a queue for these at the Manchester Monastery event in 2023?
Yes, I was there selling them at the table, and I had to put numbers in them to make each of them unique so that
Yeah.
everybody had it, because it's a collector's item. That is really a collector's item. And this is now more accessible, I think. And what I love about this one too is that you've added a couple more poems into it. So it's a special edition, let's say, rather than an accessible edition.
Well, I mean, that was the idea. I just want the people. I mean, I never planned to write this book. It just the poems that came out in 2020, 21, 22, and 23. Because I was these poems just were splurting out of me, and people said, "Oh, when are you going to do a book?" And I was like, "Well, I guess I'll have to do a book." And I really enjoyed putting the book together initially, and eventually I did the editing with you for this one because I did. It's a lot of hard work putting a book like this because it's not just the words, it's the grammar, and then it's the images, because a lot of the poems went. I mean, the poetry videos had tens of millions of views, and then they kept getting taken down, and then you know a lot of them for medical misinformation, which I still think's hilarious. How a poem can have medical misinformation, but I do feel blessed that these came out at a very difficult time for humanity, right? So it's not we didn't publish they're good poems, right? And a lot of them were most of them were directly from source, and they just came out really quickly. And then I had to get the videos made really quickly. And I remember at the time in 2020 when I was putting them out, and I remember going, I've got to get it out now, got to get it out now, and then it would go out, and people said, the poems really helped them, and I didn't really realize how powerful they were, the videos, until I got to America, when the crowds would go crazy for some of the poems, and or be sat there but crying their eyes out or whatever. And no, it's just a real. There's so many stories for each one of them as well. You know,
Yeah. Which one
I
stands out as a story that you could share here?
well, I see you is the one that's got the highest production values, and I'd written that as I remember I went up to bed to write it because I was being told you could write this poem because I'd already written "We See You," which was a poem about us seeing the bad guys. It was like a message from God through us. We can see you, and your time is up. And then I See You became like the counterpart, which was also actually a message from God to everybody that has been awake and stood up during the last 5 or 6 years. And there was just this amazing set of circumstances where a guy called Luke contacted me. He was a world-class cinematographer, and he said, we've got to work together. And I was like, oh, what do you want? What can we do? And then I said, well, I've got this poem. And then he said, yeah, let's do it. And then he suddenly appeared, and we went and filmed it, and he brought an amazing sound guy with him. And then, so I had this like guy with £100,000 camera filming me around Boyle and Sligo and Dublin, and just getting these incredible shots, and then putting it together so beautifully, because he also got an editor called Dave who was amazing. And then he found a composer who works on commercials and movies somewhere, I can't even remember where, Czechoslovakia, I think. And they refused to be paid, and then produced this amazing video. And when I got the final cut of the video through, it was 4 minutes 44 seconds long. And I was like, wow. And there's other ones like fuck YouTube. Well, that's 1 minute 44 seconds long. I think that one is. And there was all these interesting signs as I went along, which were beautiful. And I remember when I got the final cut of ICU, I was sat here actually, and I stood at the back door listening to it, just thinking, does it sound good? Is it okay? And the music's amazing, but I was trying to see if the way that I'd spoken it was okay. And then I got this message. I always feel funny saying this, but I got this message basically saying, oh, it's also for you, Mark. And then I just burst into tears. So, should we play it?
We definitely should play it.
Let's just pull it up, because it is on my channel. For anybody that doesn't know that, you can, I'll just change the screen. You got to put it, I mean, this is one of the few ones that bypassed the YouTube censorship. So I think
I have it on my channel as well.
Yeah, somewhere. I put it up here. I mean, it says 30,000 views on there. This is the third YouTube channel it was on. But it was also on tons of other channels and tons of other platforms. So I'll just large this one up. I see you twinkling in the sky, shimmering in Van Gogh's eye, sparkling as the starseed you really are. You've come so far. Born onto the facsimile earth, all memories erased. Not one iota of your talents, of the children you once raised. I see. You never felt accepted. You never felt the same. Your friends and family alien, often seemed insane. They pointed fingers at you. They laughed behind your back. Whilst you were dancing with fairies and angels, you were on a different track. I see you. You felt alone. You did your best. You smiled through all the pain. They beat you and abused you. They knew you'd come to end their reign. As winters came and summers left, the leaves fell over years. The spirit voice inside your soul grew louder through your tears. I see. They broke you down, they tricked you, they stabbed you through the heart. They feasted on your effervescence, they relished you apart. They stole your youth, they stole your money, convinced you they were right.
But every time they ripped you open, closer came their night. I see you. Like the caterpillar at the end of life, entombed inside the cocoon. The hero's journey final act, when all seems certain doom. Those belittle words of faith and belief diminish amidst the noise. Yet you hold on, you won't let go. For the battle, you are poised. I see you! Deep, deep down, you hear the cry. In remembrance, you answer, yes. The fight was laid before you. To come is yet the best. Besmirched, belittled, tossed aside, you nearly lost your way. Letting go of all beloveds, you tried your truth to say. I see you. As the veil it dissipated, as all the solids melted, the remnants left fought their way to sovereignty, once doubted. You stood your ground, you found your power, your strength became unbounded. For you are the warrior child of this world. In your brilliance, our future founded. I see you.
Don't ever make me run up a fucking sand dune for a fucking poem again. You.
Can't hear you.
Well.
I just want to say, let's just stay with that poem for a minute, because the feeling of the weight of the words of what you're saying, some of the words, you wonder, where did they come from? They're different to normal speech. Some of the stuff is like needs unraveling and explaining. But what really comes through for me is that during that time when you wrote this, when the video came out, people were lost.
Yeah.
People were black sheeps in their families, not finding all the other black sheeps and realizing there was more of us. People were feeling very alone. And then you would look at the camera and say, I see you. And that was massive. That was absolutely massive. And when you published the big rectangular hardback version, it was incredibly special, but it was like in the times, it felt alive. It felt like this was now, but now for me, this new book feels like a moment in history that we could never forget. We always need to remember that. And I'm seeing it now a lot. There's a lot of these star seeds, light workers, still waking up, still not feeling connected. And we're all stronger because we found each other. And a lot of people found each other because of you and because of these poems. So they're bigger than us, which is why it's difficult to get you to talk about them, because, it's like the work comes through you, but it is not you, is the only way that I'm able to manage what I do from time to time. Do you feel that way with the poems?
100%. I mean, actually, I forgot to say, I remember I was driving to the shops when I was being nagged to write it. And it was when I get nagged from above, it's like, I have to answer, because the nagging just gets worse. So I just stopped the car, turned around, came back, picked up the laptop, put myself into the bed and just went, right, let's do it. And then I was like, oh, this is, it's interesting. And the other thing that's interesting is the rhyming, because I set up a thing in 1990 in Manchester called the Live Poets Society. and it was at a time when I was looking at I was always a poet as a child, and I moved to Manchester, and I found people like John Cooper Clarke and Henry Normal and Lem Sissay and other people, and Dave Gorman, and they, they're all doing poetry of different types, but I was just like amazed at how you could turn it into performance poetry. And then when I did the Live Poet Society, there was a lot of poems where there was a kind of a movement towards not rhyming, and for me that was kind of similar to the difference between the way that art had changed. Like my favorite artist may be a cliche, but my favorite artist is Van Gogh, or Van Gogh if you're American. And I don't know what it is in his language, but you know who I mean, Vincent. And then you look at the work of Damien Hirst. You've gone from capturing God's natural world in the most profound, beautiful, and highly skilled way. And in less than 100 years, it had gone from that to half a sheep cut in half and put in formaldehyde, and then becoming a multi-millionaire when Van Gogh died penniless and killed himself and was an alcoholic. And you're like, wow. So the rhyming for me was interesting, because I think God speaks in rhymes and iambic pentameter, and the universe is a universe, one song. It's got that kind of that poem, like a few of my poems in the book have a kind of song structure, which I thought was really interesting, because I don't think I'd really, so it was interesting the way that came out. But you were
listening. I mean, it comes to you. You listen, you write it down, and then you look at it afterwards. Did you have to do a lot of editing on these?
None. Zero, which is why when it came to the grammar with you, I'd not put any grammar in. It was blurted out so quick that there was no grammar in them. I mean, I think the first video that I made during that time was also very personal to me, but got me. I'll just see if I can pull that one up. It was.
Well, I remember when we were editing some of them together, we had to put the video on to hear how you were breathing through some of the lyrics to decide where to put the grammar.
Yeah, that's right. And I thought it was important to kind of go back and try to give them a bit more of a, literature kind of brush.
In mature reflection.
But I think the first poem video that I did was I rewrote "If" by Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah.
And the reason I rewrote it is because there's just this beautiful moment in my childhood when my mum was working as a cleaner for a woman called Mrs. Haygate, who was like the lady of the manor in the village I grew up in, Northamptonshire. And I used to go around to see my mum when I'd finished school, because mum wasn't at home. She was at Mrs. Haygate. So I'd go around there, and then Mrs. Haygate would always spend time with me. And she was an amazing woman. She had pictures of herself flying Sopwith camels in the 1920s in silver plated or solid silver, photo things on top of the grand piano and for a council house kid, I loved hanging out with her. And she used to teach me things like where the knives and forks went on the table. And I think she's the one that impregnated the love of Jaguar XJs, because she had, I think she had a Daimler actually, which is basically an XJ. And that car had saved her life in a car crash. And she was a very important woman to me, and my mum was really good to her. And it was an upstairs downstairs kind of relationship they had. But my mum's all heart, so she always she took care of her in a really beautiful way. And one day Mrs. Haygate came down and she said, "Mark, I have a present for you." And I think I was 11, and she gave me a copy of "If" in one of those plastic things that you put in files, right? And I read this poem, and I just thought, even then, I was just like, this is the most amazing poem. And that poem saved like for millions of people, but it saved my life. It was a very personal poem for me my whole life, and I've got a framed copy of it that's followed me around for 35, 40 years now. And I tend to put it somewhere in the house where I can always just stop and look at it and remember. And really that poem, I mean, the story behind it is that Rudyard Kipling was a Freemason. I know that. But I think it was probably before they were all infiltrated. But he wrote that poem for his friend whose son had died. That's what I think. That's what I think the story is. I might be wrong. Sometimes I get things wrong because it's been a long time since I've looked that up. But it seemed like a really appropriate poem for the time, and I rewrote it for the time.
Like reasons to be alive. Is that what
Well,
it
no,
is?
I just rewrote it for the 2020.
Right.
What we were going through. I thought, well, how can I? I did it really for fun for myself, and I was like, if Rudyard Kipling was going to write that now, would he write it about this? The excuse me, craziest moment in human history. And then I think Kieran came around one day, and I said, like, can we go make this? Can we make a video now? He went, "What do you now?" I said, "Yeah, now. Let's go. Let's go into the forest, make this video." And his brother, who was a great help recording the voices for all these poems, came and did the sound. But it was all like the sound was done on mobile phones, and I'd not memorized the poem, so I had to do like 2 lines at a time, and then Kieran stitched it together, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah, but the miracle in that is that Kieran's camera was actually charged up. You know, people who know Kieran would
yes, that will follow Kieran around for years. But in this,
so he had it charged and ready to go. That is kind of cool.
yeah, and he did a fantastic job. Got it over to me, but then he didn't want to tell anybody that he'd done it. So because at the time it was really, you know, to support someone like me who was being outspoken against
everything.
The COVID was a dangerous. I was a dangerous person to be associated with, because I was trying to get people to help me make videos and music at the time, and people would write. And there's a lot of great musicians and stuff around here, and I'd get introduced to them and I'd speak to them, and then they suddenly cut me off. They wouldn't go near me. I was like a hot potato. So I was lucky to get Kieran to make anything, really, because it was tough for him to do that, because he didn't want to be associated really with what I was talking about. And I think to some degree that's still there, but me and Kieran did a lot of good work together, and I'm very grateful to him. And
well, the world's a very different place now. There's a lot more people wide awake and more confident to speak out. But when it's, you know, the beginning, the amount of psychological warfare that was waged against individual people is something that you just wouldn't believe unless you had lived through it. I mean, my kids totally missed it out because we were the ones that took it on for them. And your poems were cutting through a lot of it. Do you want to play it?
Yeah, I'll just get that up, because it's...
if you'd like to pay to play it.
No, I want to play it. I love this poem. I love this version of it as well. I mean, it's my version of it, you know, but I love the film.
I'm sure he approves.
If you can keep your head when all about you are wearing masks and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when your neighbors doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait for the lockdown to be over, or stop believing in government lies don't deal in lies, or being hated for posting truth on Facebook, and use your intuition to get wise. If you can dream the golden age to come here faster, if you can think for yourself but not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with Trump and avoid disaster and treat those two just the same, if you can bear to be called a conspiracy theorist, a CIA term to make a trap for fools, or watch long-held beliefs become absurdist and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap from all your crypto and get some gold and not give a toss, and lose your debts and start a new beginning and never breathe a word about it to your boss. If you can force your nerves and courage to speak your voice when it seems they're gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the strength to face the dawn. If you can talk on YouTube and keep your virtue, or speak your truth without losing the common touch, if neither trolls nor loving friends can hurt you, if all followers count with you but none too much, If you can fill the unforgiving minutes with 60 seconds worth of meditation in 5D, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a multi-dimensional being. You'll see.
This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Cannot see you though.
This sometimes happens when you do it. It's because I've got to minimize it first.
That's cool.
That's actually quite emotional watching that one again, because I've not seen it in a while. And that was that I can see why Kieran didn't want to really be associated with it, because I mean, he put his name on it, but he wouldn't share it anywhere. And I can see why now, because I was talking about these subjects were really hot potatoes.
Well, I think they still are. I just have it open here to this page. I mean, you're saying if you can talk on YouTube and keep your virtue, and we could almost change that to keep your channel. Because if you can keep your virtue, you lose your channel.
Well, that's what I meant by keep your virtue. It's like be sincere and be honest.
And risk losing everything.
And I never monetized my first YouTube channels for 3 years. Never got monetized. I was like, I'm not doing it. The only reason I monetized the third one is because I was like, well, fuck you. I could have had a load of money out of that, and now you've taken me down twice. Like 90,000 subscribers gone. That's 3 years hard work. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to take your money now.
That's what you say, if all followers count with you, but none too much.
Well, that's been my message from the beginning. You're the guru that you're looking for.
The path of non-attachment. You have to let go of everything.
Well, just don't stop looking for gurus. I mean, there's just like rabid. I saw, COVID created lots of new cults. The RV is a cult. There's certain things within, it's just stuff that I've seen that is like very cult-like, and it's like, no, guys, that's not the answer. It's like the answer is not to go and live in a field and grow carrots. There's an infrastructure already here. We just have to stand up and be counted and talk the truth until the truth is all out. And then, but even talking about Trump in a video like that, if you could, is so controversial. As soon as you mention him, it's like, you idiot.
Like you predicted it because you were in a room with him. If you could meet with him, and it was just almost, prescient.
No, it's all prophetic. It's all prophetic.
It's all. Is there anything in this book that you would change now? I know we would have had an opportunity to do so, but
no, nothing.
And what shocked you the most as being, let's say, the most prophetic of all your poems?
Well, I couldn't answer that until we'd watched a few more, but I don't call myself a prophet. It's just quite interesting as time's gone by. I've stuck to my guns, not for reasons of ego, because I just know. I've known since the beginning that everything's going to be okay, but we have to go through this process. I didn't realize how long that process would take. But there's certain, okay, they'll give an example of one line in one poem. I can't remember which poem it is. I think I wrote it in 2022, and I wrote the line, "When the truthers ate each other."
Yeah.
And I was actually looking this morning and last night at certain truthers that I had met or spoken to or interviewed, and they're all slagging each other off and they're just literally, because it was all infiltrated. Now, I didn't realize that at the time. I mean, I would speak to anybody that was awake. I would speak to them, and I'd be like grateful to speak to them because they were like speaking out. And then as time went by, I learned things about some of them that made me go, oh shit, I'm now associated with them, or I've promoted them. And then I was like, well, maybe that's because they had to be seen. And then, and there were times throughout that period where I would literally look at myself in the mirror going, are you real, Mark? Are you a clone? All the way through, I'd be saying, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Because it was not my decision to do any of this. I was literally nagged by God to start a YouTube channel. And I was like, what am I going to say? You'll know what to say. And I was like, because I didn't realize, and I was like, well, who's interested in what I've got to say? Who am I? But then really, when I look back on my life, the whole thing was leading up to it.
Yeah.
And it's just extraordinary. Whether
Your
that
morning campers videos do so well. People want to know what you have to say,
like, it still amazes me. But I'm here to serve, and I mean, even in that, if the final line is about a few minutes of meditation in 5D and you're multi-dimensional beings, I mean, that's not changed. And then it ended up opening a healing center called Live 5D Health.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd known about 5D for years, and I remember when I first found out about it, and I was like, what is that? I don't get it. I don't understand what it is. And I wasn't fully clear on what it was even 6 years ago, but in fact, I don't think I'm fully clear on what it is now, but I know it's a thing. And people may disagree about what it's called. But 5D seems to be like a quite nice label for it, ascending. We're multidimensional. I know that's true. And so yeah, let's play another one. Well, I was actually going to point out something, because there's a lot of poems videos that I still can't play or daren't play on YouTube, because some of these poems got me closed down. But there is a page, I'll leave a link to this. I think there's 34. They might not all be on here, but there's a lot of them on here from over the years. Like, one that I daren't play is Truth Bombs. Another one is down here somewhere.
I don't think Truth Bombs even made it into the first book.
I don't think it did. No, is it in the new one?
It's in the new one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is but one word. Is like, I certainly can't put that on YouTube.
Least amount of editing for me, that one.
Well, it's very simple. I mean, that one, right? That got me into so much trouble on tour in America, because I mean, hold up some of the pages so people can see what's in it. Maybe that.
Okay, I think I find
it. It was never intended to be a poem. It was me doing Derek and Clyde talking about COVID. I had a few beers that night. And
yeah, but it's good to get it out.
I was making yeah, there we go. We'll go back to some of the pictures just a few pages earlier. Yeah, I thought somebody needs to, and I got in trouble for using that word, and I was like, well, all these people have tried to kill everybody.
This one in particular.
Yeah, he's a proper fucking. And I was constantly being told off for cussing, and I was like, no, you're wrong, because if we can't cuss at these people at this time who are trying to kill you and your family, then you're the problem.
And as time goes on, we just want to add more people to that list, really.
Oh, no, I should do it. It would be 5 hours long if you put everybody in it. But the thing is, it was also funny, right? So it was a massive relief when people heard that. And I loved playing it in front of live audiences in America, because they just pissed themselves. And I thought that relief is so important. There's a lot of humor in my stuff. That's why I did that thing at the end of ICU. And I said, if you ever make me run up, I was acting. Right? I said to Luke, just film me. He was like, why? I said, I just want to do a joke at the end. So I did that. And then we put the bleeps in, because it's funny. It's a relief at the end of what is quite a heavy emotional poem.
Exactly.
And I did There Is But One Word. And it's just so cathartic to put on, Peter Cook's voice and say that word out loud about these.
It's like your fucking therapy. You have to get it out.
That's not my therapy. That's John C. Parkin's. But
John C. Parkin. But it's if you hold it in, it makes you sick.
Yeah.
You have to get it out.
Yeah. And it's a relief, I think. But I think one of the most important ones I ever wrote was We See You. And that was interesting, because that was 2020 as well. And there was you see, I'd known about the BBC for a long time, and I was watching a live stream of people actually outside the headquarters of the BBC in London protesting, and for the first time that I'd ever seen, actually calling them out for their support of paedophilia. And of course, we all know about Jimmy Savile and others, but you know, there's the statue outside
That's true, yeah.
made by that paedophile, which they refused to take down. I mean, the guy tried to smash it up and they just rebuilt it. They're so stubbornly supported. It's a massive paedophile network. So I was like, so encouraged to see that. And I couldn't get to London for any of the protests at the time because I couldn't leave. We weren't allowed to leave the country. And it was like,
one of the biggest lockdowns that was in the world was in Ireland.
yeah, I mean, I finally realized that I could just drive up to Belfast and do that. But at the time, it was like, you know, I couldn't even go to my own granddad's funeral because he died during COVID because he was put in they didn't explain why he was being locked up. He was in an assisted living home. And then he punched one of them because he was being locked up with no explanation. So then he ended up in a ward and then he died. And it's like, and then I watched his funeral on this computer in my kitchen. This is my Pat who I grew up with. You know, so there's a lot of righteous indignation.
It's unforgivable.
Well, I saw a comment this morning replying to somebody about COVID, saying, "Oh, you're still going on about that? It's 6 years ago." And I'm like, "What do you mean he's still going on about it? Of course we're going on about it. How can you not go on about it? It was horrific." So anyway, this poem, the story behind this one just came through. I was watching that on the screen, and it just literally poured out. No edits. I wrote it in 20 minutes. I rang Kieran and I said, I need to make this poem, and I want to sit on a big leather chair, like in the Matrix, right? Big leather chair. And of course, I've got the white hat on, and I've got I call it my poetry outfit, because when we filmed If, Kieran said, "What are you going to wear?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Hang on a minute." And I ran upstairs and I got this white hat, and then I was like, and I got this jacket, and I thought, yeah, oh no, I got that shirt actually, that
with the ruffles, yeah.
That was actually for my wedding 25 years ago, because I dressed like Wild Bill Hickok, or the Eighth Doctor actually, and that shirt cost me. It's made out of silk, and I was like, oh, this seems befitting for a poet, so I'll wear a poetry outfit. So I did wear that for a few videos, and yeah, this one,
white hat.
Well, the white hat was totally. I think I'd bought it on holiday, and it was just there on a hat stand, and I was like, yeah, I'll grab that, and I said, right, I'm ready, let's go. I didn't even think about it. It was just all there, and it was perfect. And yeah, this one Kieran took me to a barn in County Mayo, and he'd found a chair, and then we edited this and we filmed this. It was very dark actually, and there were some editing tricks that he had to do to make it work, but I think the simplicity of it and the ticking clock worked really well. And this got huge coverage, and this has probably got more views than any other poem that I've written. So should we watch it?
We shall. Yes, please.
We see you. The scales have fallen from our eyes. The veil has drifted down from the sky, meandering firmly, finally revealing your depth of depravity. That's fear you're now feeling. We see you. Your demonic bloodlust laid bare to see, the statue of filth on the BBC, the prince and the madam, the crisper spy, the islands of horrors in the ocean lie. We see you. A billion souls stolen over the years. You hid them deep down to drown their tears. Perfect and innocent, God's own creations, mutilated by your sick machinations. We see you. Vlad the Impaler and his vile descendants, fleeing the palace from the 5D ascendants. The virus distracted, but gave us the time to peel back the layers of your heinous crimes. We see you. Run, run as fast as you can. back for more orders from the Phoenician clan. Out of White Rabbit, the looking glass cracked. Tipping point reached, odds against you now stacked. We see you. Pizza and hot dogs, pasta and sauce. Your sickness decoded your lack of remorse. Our slumber is over, our eyes not wide shut. For the children of Haiti, a knife to your gut. We see you. Ascension is powered by the light of the flare. Scramble like rats to the ruins of your lairs. It's over, it's over. Save our children, we cry. Revealed, reviled. It's your soul's time to die. We see you.
And no joke at the end of that one. Muted.
No joke at the end of that one. For me, this whole thing is about the children, and I try to highlight that as often as I can. And it's this thing that drives my engine, because when you know 22,000 children have gone missing every single day since the Second World War, at least. That's official statistics, and they get fed into underground tunnels. There's a whole global tunnel network, trafficking network, shipping network, railroad network, and what happens to these children is horrific beyond belief, and it feeds the biggest industry on the planet, which is, I'm not going to say the words because it's on YouTube.
You don't need to.
I mean, Janine calls it the party substance, and you know, people just haven't. I mean, that poem is actually deeply encoded, and you know, and I was watching it then, thinking how frustrating it is, because at the time I was like, I'll put this poem out. It's got everything in it that people need to understand about what's going on, and then everybody will understand. And no, it's not the case. They sit and listen to it, and then they don't take it in. You know, every single line in that poem is it's got everything in it. It's, you know, the royal family, Prince Andrew, Epstein. It's all in that poem. It's, you know.
But that still happens now. It happened to me this week, where I spoke about supernatural and multidimensionality of our being. Couldn't hear anything I said. Didn't want to know. So there are still people out there, but there's more people who get it, more people who are getting it. And that's the tipping point, when we reach a certain level of people that get it. And I think we're getting there. You know, I don't know. All I know is that I can see the small piece of the fractal of the world that I'm in, and you can see yours, and whoever's watching this can see their own. And we just have to do what we have to do and hope it all links up at somewhere. That's why your poems are important, because you send them out, you don't know where they go, you don't know who they impact. And I'd love to just say, if you're watching this and you've been deeply impacted by any of Mark's poems, do tell us stories in the comments about it, because we don't know. I mean, it's like me seeing clients. I don't know what happens next. They never come and tell me when everything is good. They only come when things aren't good. You know, we do make a difference. We just don't need to know necessarily. We never find out.
Enough time's gone by for me to understand that these have made a difference. I know that. And I guess I want, you know, and the book itself is kind of like it is a historical record, and like whether you agree with some of the conclusions or some of the things I say in those poems is neither here nor there. It's like a poem to me is like a photograph. It's a snapshot of time, which is why it was so important to me that it had the images in that were relevant, because a lot of some of these poems were filmed, but a lot of them were done on this software that I'd used as an internet marketer pre-COVID. And I knew the guys that had built the software. It was very funny actually, because I was like making a lot of poems with this software, and I could get them done really quickly, and I could get images from the time that I thought represented the time that we were in, and I could record them, and then I could get the voice track laid down on them, and I could get them out quickly. But then that software company got bought out by a big company, and then they took it off the market. And I was like, I remember thinking at the time, I think they've done that just to screw me, because it's like really difficult. That software was so good. I mean, now we've got AI software that can make videos, so I suppose it's been superseded. But yeah, I was really miffed when I couldn't just get on the computer and make a video based on a poem. But I did try to be more direct about some of the stuff that people I think needed to know about. And one of them I just thought I'd play is When You Lied.
Mm.
Yeah, let's play that one because I like this one.
When you lied, when you took the cross and turned it upside down, when you fed the masses with fluoride and modified the crown, when you dimmed the light of the incandescent first eye, when you lied, when you put the eye on the dollar from Saturn's raging storm, when you placed black cubes into the hearts of people torn, when you pulverized the twins in New York and old Babylon died, when you lied, when your intentions in granite were laid, we saw who you were, who you are, when you summoned your Lord Beelzebub, who has served you so you thought so far, when you hid the past from our story and the tears of the giants that cried, when you lied, when you stole the gold from the earth and divided its people with myths from the pit, when you placed false monarchs on thrones whose essence was pure counterfeit, when you stole the magic of words with the breath of the wizards that sighed, when you lied, when you tried to kill us with hate, with distance and muzzling masks, we awoke to your nonsense and lies and realized your death was our task. When you knew it was time for defeat, the piper no longer was pied, when you died.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, here we go.
Such a lot in that one.
There is. I was looking at it going, oh, actually, there is a lot in that. I haven't seen that one in years either. But, you know, I really wanted people to look at the images and say, what's that? What does that mean? You know, Georgia Guidestones, for example. I didn't say it was the Georgia Guidestones. I was hoping people would see the image and go, what is that? And go and find it. Thank God they got blown up. You know, that was one of the great markers during this spiritual war.
Yeah.
That got destroyed. You know, and Rockefeller, who
looks like a zombie.
Well, he doesn't look human, does he?
No, he doesn't. And in that picture of Bill Gates holding on to that needle, it's just
Well,
he's lying all the time.
Obama literally dressed as Satan. I mean, and I'm still saying the same stuff on other shows. You know, that's not the king, that's not the queen. This is what they are really, and people are still going, "You're crazy." I'm like, do you know what? It's been a long road.
As you know, like if you were to say, how ridiculous does it need to get before people will see this is what it's doing? You know, you just can't get embroiled in it or connected with it because it'll suck the life out of you. To try and do, you just have to let other people wake up in their own time or not.
Well,
I suppose
that's why another reason why I wanted to put this out, this book, because it's a marker. And I often see a lot of people say to me that, I mean, I've just been to the dentist today, and Evelyn put God Wins in the dentist reception in 2022. when the
Yes.
first version came out. And I remember saying to her, "Are you sure you want people to read this in the reception?" She goes, "Oh, it's brilliant. It's a great conversation starter." And then Christiane Northrup said the same thing. She said she leaves it on a coffee table and lets people flick through it. And, it's pretty amazing, actually.
Well, now that it's more affordable, I'm going to get a few of them and put them down my local cafe and all that kind of thing, that I can do that now.
Well, I walked past a bookshop today and there's all this crap in the windows. And I was like, my book should be in that window, really. And but it won't be, not until they've all gone. But as you and I both know, the publishing industry is controlled by cabal entities anyway. And
Well, even, there's these adverts now coming up for psychology summits and trauma summits. And I've set up a school to teach people how to be therapists. And I'm like, I should be in there. And I'm like, I'm not going to be in there. They're not going to want to listen to what I have to say. They're not ready. Or they just don't want people to get well. Keep people sick, keep them disempowered. So, but it's in here too, isn't it? That's part of it. Keep them sick. If I do an article and open it to a page, of those moments sublime, every angry choice, every betrayal, each and every word and thought along life's mighty trail. It is. It's everywhere.
yeah, and
It's so good. It's so good. No, the link's below if you want to buy one.
yeah, I mean, look, we've priced it at heart. It does, we'd have to sell millions to make.
We had an argument over this. I wanted it to be higher, but you have to be able to see the pictures, the quality of the pages, the printing, because there's a lot of pages there with black, and when they don't print well because you're doing cheaper version, it just looks shit, really. So we did the best that we could do. And I
love that poem. I love that poem. I want to share that.
I am to the we are.
Yeah.
You want to share that one?
Yeah, because
we lift it up a bit.
Yeah, it's a very positive one, and it's just beautifully put together as well. Kieran actually put this one together, and I was like, wow, can you do this every time? It's so good the way he put it together. There's a good story behind it, but let's play it first because it's only a minute long. I think this one. Let's just pull it up.
There and back again. Ma ha ka wa ta he. He ta wa ka ha ma. There and back again. Do you see? Multi-dimensional beings are we. From the energy of the first light, through the calendar of the light of days, with the veil down, we were in a haze. 1 to 10 and back again. In the darkness we held each other tightly until the light came. The dragon blood, the Taki, the Akashic potentiality. At the speed of memory, we came, there and back again. From the I am to the we are, we came far, there and back again.
Yeah, that's interesting. I often think, when I get all the times I've been called a fascist, grifter, racist, I'm like, have you seen this poem? It's full of love and hope and unity between all races and creeds and colors and religions and everything. And that's where we're going. And standing up for being called right wing and fascist and all that, it's been so tiresome, so nonsensical. But I think the words have run out of their meaning now. So we are turning a corner. But I love that. I love that. But I don't know if you can see on my wall here. Look, there.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that was handed to me by when I did the first Manchester Monastery event. You were there.
What does it say?
That's that poem. Somebody, a
Oh,
really lovely
okay.
guy, made it by hand and gave it to me at the monastery, and I was like, oh my! And I could not believe that anybody had done that. And then I think there's a spelling mistake on it, but it's great. It's on my
It's
wall.
the thought that counts. I know. Yeah, that was an incredible event. Both of them were incredible events.
Well,
Yeah, I was remembering actually when you asked me about making this video, I think I asked you to make this video because we needed to give the book its own breathing space in a moment in time. And I was going back because I knew you had done this. And I sent you a text when I was editing the book. And I said, there are tears falling from my eyes as I edit the poem, The Best Is Yet to Come, with your voice reading it in the background, because I had said to you about the grammar and you said, just play it and listen to the breathing to get the grammar. And then I said, there's such power of God in this work. It will get published and people will treasure it. And what did you do?
The best is yet to come.
You fucking sent me that. It made me cry. I was bawling my eyes out like, you mean? I was like, are you a real person? Why are you doing this to me? It was hilarious. It's really funny.
I mean, that was an interest. I don't know if I want to talk about There and Back again though.
The best.
It's a short poem, but it's packed. It's absolutely packed with stuff.
Everything is packed with stuff.
Wisdom from the ages. But
you could do a class on it. It's like when I discovered at university, you know, university in America taught a course on the Matrix movie. It's like
I could
teach more in this.
I could teach a course on this book, and that poem, I could speak about that poem for 3 hours easily. But yeah, you've just reminded me of The Best Is Yet to Come. So that was I remember when that went out, and I got massively attacked, but I also got massive people saying thank you, because it's so positive. You know, Trump has said the best is yet to come, like, for a long time, and people are like, yeah, we know it. When? But you know, I think it was a guy called Lee who sent me a message saying, why don't you do a poem called The Best Is Yet to Come? And I was like, all right, yeah. And then it just came. Should we play that? I've not played that in a long time.
Yeah, I should play it, definitely.
Yeah. And there were things you could say about this, like there will be people saying you can't keep believing Trump is your savior. I've never said that Trump is the savior, ever.
It's all frequency.
Yeah. But I do like the positivity of, and again, it's not just the positivity, it's the of the message, but also this poem has, right? This poem has it captures what was happening at the time as well.
But you know what else I'd like to say that I've learned about the pacing and the breathing of words and how they're put together is hypnotic. And everyone out there that's selling something is using it to undermine people, make them feel like they don't know anything. And this poem is like the exact opposite of that. That's why I was getting teary working on it, because the pacing and the rhyme is building you up. It's giving you your power back. And that is something that you couldn't sit down and write something like that if you planned to. You know, you couldn't. That's why it's so powerful for me.
Thank you. You know, I've been blessed with a lot of amazing people saying nice things, and there was one message I got off Roseanne Barr once, and she said about We See You, she says the most perfect piece of art I've ever seen. I was like, whoa, what? I just made it in a shed. But you know, and anyway, thank you for that. Here's the poem, The Best Is Yet to Come, because it is. You just got to hang on, guys.
You got to make it happen yourself, guys.
Yeah, well, both at the same time would be a good idea.
The best is yet to come. In the days of future past, we'll look back on the storm, when the world was wearing masks and America was torn. When 5D chess was played with such finesse, when criminals floundered and were left to guess. Their codes were broken, their weapons gone. Flynn's digital soldiers marched to the song of QAnon. the song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, "The best is yet to come." We gathered closely in the end of days, fighting for our rights. When this virus washes through, it'll be like a burst of light. With golden hearts we raised the earth into the Aquarius age. Phoenicians gone and demons run, we broke out of our cage. King Cyrus rose to take the fight to the fiends of Babel once again, removing fear and usury, the chains that held down men. The song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, "The best is yet to come." In the time of revelations, the devil's hand was shown. His heinous crimes against mankind finally were known. As the great awakening gathered speed, as the veil did turn to dust, new heroes forged and laws were made that finally were just. From Guantanamo Bay to the last hooray, the serpents were all done. The shots heard round the world, and the end of Babylon. The song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, "The best is yet to come." In God we trust and trust the plan. Our faith was tested hard. We held on tight to the might and ran the final yard. The looking glass, it showed the way when everything seemed lost. Survival of the human race at monumental cost. The storm it came, and when it did, you said it was upon us. We held the lights for the golden age, a manifested promise. The song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, "The best is yet to come." The sword of the spirit and the shield of faith, extinguishing the arrow's fire. Finally, the sons of Cain laid on the funeral pyre. Bittersweet the victory was. In righteous grace we thanked you. We raised our heads and looked ahead to sovereign times anew. The quantum era and Tesla's dreams finally found their way. In fireside talks far in the future, we know our children will say, the song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, "The best is yet to come."
Very uplifting, emotive, positive.
Very interesting looking at it now. I'm just laughing to myself. Some of the choices I made, like, and just funny that the bees were in there at the end.
The bees.
And, you know, that theme has just not gone away. In fact, I've just done a video. I've just done a few videos about the bees because it's like it came up with the alleged King Charles and Trump in Washington with the bee that landed on his hand. It was the same day a bee landed near me when I was reading a poem from Pie in the Sky Up Carrick Hill. It's like, this really is the Matrix, you know, and we're like, we are here to break the code, because I think we've done this many times before. And, you know, a lot of people talk about
a weird experience. Speaking of garden insects, I plant dahlias every year, and last year they got totally macerated by slugs, and this year I found one slug. And it's like, did I rewrite the code of my garden and not put slugs in there because I don't want them anymore? It's just so strange. It's like the texture is different. The Matrix does feel different. Divine Matrix.
It really does. And there's a lot more spiders out here this year. And I was like, well, if there's more spiders, that means there's more insects. and there's a lot more birds than there have been. And it's very sunny at the moment. It's very easy to look at the sun and go, yeah, this is good times, then it's going to rain again and it'll be shit. But
yeah,
you
but
know,
let's not create that. I looked at the weather app and says, oh, the whole of June in Ireland is going to be terrible. And I'm like, nah, I don't want that. Let's shift some of that. Of course it has to rain, but it doesn't have to rain for a whole month.
Well, the other thing about that poem is like, it's a manifesting poem. If you believe the best is yet to come, the best comes.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't get. And it's like, we have to learn it, and I mean, he's even got pictures of the Schumann resonance in from 5.5 years ago.
I know, we were sharing those last week as well. I mean, it's still amping us up and amping us up. But when you showed the picture of, saving the human race, I think it was last year where something shifted and I was like, okay, we want the highest timeline for all and we want to take the most people with us. So it has to take longer. So let's do it this way. And so those people who want a quick ending, sure, go on a different timeline because we want to take as many people with us as we can.
Well, I feel like there's an analogy I used to use when I taught internet marketing, and that was to do with getting a grand piano up to the top of a mountain, right? So you can either do it with one big rope with a rugby team at one end, or you could have a million strings attached to it and with a million people pulling it up. And each one of these poems I hope is a rope to get everybody over the line quicker. I'm not saying but the thing is, it seems to have reached people that need, and I've said this since the start, you reach the people you need to reach. You're going to get attacked and tripped up. All the stuff that happens online with shills and in reality, I mean, I saw 4 monitor demons today in Castle Bar. It's all around you all the time, but we have the power. We're the ones with the strength. We're the manifestors. We're the creators because we're fractals of God. These are just facts in my world, and people are either going to cop onto that and then start manifesting the future we want, or they're not. But it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
It's just taken longer than I expected it to, and I got given these words way before a lot of people were ready to hear them, and that's okay. And but hopefully they can reach more people and help more people get through this journey from dark to light, which is what it is.
Journey from dark to light, and there and back again. And we're still on it. I think what we have to do is just release our expectations of when and work away in our own corner of the world and do what we feel called to do as things show up. Time is most unusual. It's very quick and also very slow. So, and maybe one day you'll run a poetry retreat in your retreat center. I'm just going to plant a seed. Well, all just come and write together in a beautiful space and go to Live 5D and get healing, and maybe there'll be another book.
It is very interesting because I have rarely called myself a poet in my time, because the only time I seem to write it is when there's massive stress or heaviness or duress. That's when it all comes out. Like, if a relative dies and stuff like that, poetry comes out. But during happy times, I don't tend to write much of poetry, and it's quite interesting. So I don't know if I don't think, why would anybody? I mean,
but we just don't know. If you're still in stillness, the words will come.
What I mean is, this poetry book is really of its time. I do not have plans to go into the future trying to become a poet laureate. It's just, these are of its time. It's a snapshot of that time. It's full of hope, lots of humor, powerful images of the time, and I'm very proud of it. And I couldn't think of anybody better to talk to me about it or edit it than you, because you've been so deeply involved. And I've got to say thanks to Nicole, who put the original one together design wise, did a great job interpreting the images from the videos that I put together, and then you have made it now into this square book and added these other ones brilliantly. And I love the way it looks and feels. I just think it's a great book. Go and get it. But
get it. So which poem would you like to close off our video with?
I think From Dark to Light.
From Dark to Light. Well, thank you for coming on the Abby Wynn Show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Here we go. Oh, this one's an interesting length. 322. Skull and bones, anybody? Oh, that is interesting. That will get a few people triggered.
From dark to light. Our perception of time was most sublime when we were first told to hold the line. The virus, it came with multiple names. We knew this was no Valentine. The Mandela effect was in full flow. We wanted the truth, we needed to know. Warriors rose in life and online. Popcorn was popped, enjoy the show. Truth was the enemy of the state, causing division and hate in its wake. Repeating the lies again and again, we all knew deep down the news it was fake. Some of us slept and put on false masks, for fear of fear in itself. Fooled by the demons that ran amok, unaware of our sovereign wealth. The longest war, the spiritual fight. We roared like lions with the valor of knights. The royal star, it lit up so bright in this journey from dark to light. In the 11th hour, one man had the power to transform all the hope into love. It tested us all as the veil did fall, and the light it did shine from above. As everyone clamored for new information, destroying the evil at last. The spider was pierced and squealed in pain, its web of deceit was so vast. They sent out their hexes to Earth's solar plexus, but failed to kill Christ once again. The oil of the chrism did rise to the right, and defeated the quadruple horsemen. Apocalypse came with great revelations of heavenly secrets no more. Our hearts were cracked wide, all hate moved aside, as we pushed on the open door. The longest war, this spiritual fight. We roared like lions with the valor of knights. The royal star, it lit up so bright in this journey from dark to light. The road, it was tough. We lost many friends. In transition, we fell on our swords. At the last minute, we rose from the dead in defiance to the dark overlords. The keys to the matrix were in the right hands and found in the portal of ice. Some called it AI, a black forest pie. The deafening bell, it rang twice. Divided no more, we came to implore for justice for all the lost children. The guilty were found so deep underground, our prisons, we knew we should fill them. The dream of Jasara, it couldn't come faster, as all of the debts they were paid. Our souls reconstructed, our contracts retracted. We stood tall and no longer afraid. The longest war, this spiritual fight. We roared like lions with the valor of knights. The royal star, it lit up so bright in this journey from dark to light.
I couldn't resist putting Monty Python in at the end of that one.
Okay, Roberta.
Roberta? I don't remember that one.
Wasn't that it? I want to be Roberta. Call me a woman and I'm going to have a baby.
Oh, yeah. You're all individuals. I'm not. Yeah, I think Monty Python was mind control probably, but it's still some of the funniest films ever made. Yeah, this is a journey from dark to light. If you're optimistic about the future, which I am,
don't be afraid to shine your light.
It's a shame we couldn't play God Wins. I mean, I was just watching that thinking, I wonder if YouTube might not let this one up. God Wins, the poem, is one of my favorites, but I was just checking inside YouTube while that was playing, and I've still got a strike from 2 years ago for medical misinformation, and I'm like, I've appealed, and I didn't say anything in it. They just come and strike you and take you down, and it's like, what will they let this video up? I don't know, but thank you very much, Abby.
Oh, thank you very much, and it was my honor again, and I'm excited for the best that is yet to come.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening. Take care. Thank you. That was your show. You guys say goodbye to me. I'll see you later.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye for me.